All right, we're recording. This is podcast number 3 for the day for Chatty B. So we're just going to be adjusting some levels.
Number 2 for me.
Me too. 2-2.
Quite the expert at playing with things. So we did a lot of talking today. You guys just had dinner.
Yeah.
Return of the Chad.
Is this like the
That's
Star,
name of
Star
the
Wars?
episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or there's that song, Return of the Mac.
Or Revenge of the Sith?
Or that.
She's gone right in.
What would that be? Revenge of the Sith in like CS terminology.
Return of gla1ve.
Yeah. The dark side.
The dark in-game leader coming back into business.
He'll be coming at some point. We can preface that at the start of this video. So, yeah, I just stole the player lounge for HLTV confirmed, and now we're using it to do talking counter directly after. Brolin came in before we were recording. I was a bit worried. Snappy came in at some point, quizzed him about what version of Counter-Strike we would be using. Still no answers.
Yeah, we didn't have any answers at dinner either.
No. So, and also I said a couple of times, like, oh yeah, the teams are getting to vote. And I messaged Mr. Mark Winther, and he said they're not voting, but they get to express their opinion.
They get to have it. Well, it's such a. I was thinking about it because it is so weird. Because you're like, on one hand, I almost feel like you'd want to end the tournament in the same one that you played the group stage on, just in terms of like competitive integrity. But also, the RMR starts next week, so if you're the players, you're like, we would like to play this new patch as much.
And if it's a better version, but which seems to be quite buggy at the moment with a few things. The smokes.
But that's something that you hope can be hot fixed. Until Friday, right? Like that's something that could be fixed. I think another issue is also practicing. Like if you
who are you going to practice against?
Who are you going to practice against? You can only practice against the team from the other side of the bracket.
Yeah.
In this tournament,
and you might play them in the grand final.
Yeah, but I mean it's either that or no one to practice because every team that's not still in this tournament will be practicing on the new version.
Yeah, we got straight into the Counter-Strike tour there, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. There was no entry.
But you asked we were dinner. Yes, we had too much food. I feel like
I stopped myself.
Did Carmack pay?
Yeah. Well,
I think Kinga handled it.
Yeah.
So ESL pay.
Yes, ESL.
All right, I was one of those dinners. All right, fair enough. I don't think I've been to one of those in years. The last one I went to is when Carmack didn't show up.
When he was like an hour late.
Yeah, it was like an hour and a half, and we were all waiting for him to eat and stuff. Yeah.
Well, they always have you working, 8-hour media days and stuff.
Today was pretty chill. I did one of the potty things, me, Alex, with Magisk, Snappy.
Oh, you got the good ones.
Nico and Mornesh. And then I did an SSD setup with Monacy.
I did an SSD with Brokey.
Okay. Wow. How did that go?
That was rough. I'm not going to lie. Well, it didn't help. They told me 5 minutes before I started the podcast, they were like, oh, yeah, we have you doing this thing today, too. So, like, I didn't know. Like, they had, like, a whole list of what you're supposed to run through on the setup.
You would have prepped otherwise?
Well, I would have been familiar
Shut the fuck up.
with the different targets they wanted to hit. Right?
I like how Chad tweeted out his schedule for the day, and he wrote SSD setup with Morneshi. And then some guy, is it like Kingston or like... It's like, bro, it's not like literally the SSDs. It's like, going through his
My
settings.
potty today was with Kerrigan, Frozen, and then Magix and Zontix.
So there was one side of the table that was
very talkative on one side of the table.
Other.
Josh and I were trying to milk the Sphere guys. We were trying to really pull it out of them. There were a couple moments where it's just like 5 rapid fire questions, trying to get them to follow up, and it was just like, yep.
Were you successful with milking? How much milk did you get out of Spirit?
Have you ever used a milking table?
I've never used a milking table.
Do you know of a milking table?
I do know what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I've thought about getting one for the home studio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You weren't at dinner, Chad, but we did. Your name was mentioned.
Okay. That's a good thing.
In a positive manner.
In a positive manner, as also Alex was giving you some lessons.
Okay.
On light choking.
Okay, yeah.
For fuck's sake.
So he was like telling us about, you're not supposed to, there's a way to choke. So you like cut out the blood flow without cutting out the airway.
Yeah.
And that excites.
Yeah, you don't
people.
actually want them to pass out.
Yeah, you don't want them, and you don't want to inflict pain necessarily, depending on the...
He's the dragon wizard of this cult, Alex.
Yeah.
It's very common,
Supreme Chancellor.
Supreme leader. Yeah, but you were there with us in spirit, and then he gave there's a video of it. Carmack recorded an example on Jason's neck how to do it. So Maybe we put that one in the Discord as a Talk Encounter exclusive.
Yeah, that'll see the light of day at some point, I'm sure. Carmack
has to.
He's
Yeah.
gonna be
There's
throwing
the
it.
other when we were at that nightclub in Udense with OJ being a massive fucking cunt. With
with the beer.
Yeah. He did that to me and to you in Sydney.
Yep.
In Sydney,
With the
he
shoe.
with the flip flop, right? And and I think there's still video of that exists that I could find.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
we was a couple.
And he was a dick about that. And then I remember I've razzed him such hard times, and he's like, "Is that not all right?"
He actually does feel bad. He's apologized to me.
But he
about
should
that.
feel bad. They're massive dick moves. It's like we're all having fun, OJ, and then you take it too far.
Then you pour a beer on us.
Yeah, because you don't want to be covered in beer.
No, it's not
Just
cool.
because that big motherfucker likes throwing people under the bonnets of cars and shit. I remember one night we were out in Cologne. He's like picking me up and throwing me into the bonnets of cars in Cologne. And I'm like,
Spreading your
"Bro."
legs and pulling your pants down.
He didn't choke me. He didn't choke me.
He was pushing Henry out of the fucking Uber on the way back from an after party at the McDonald's drive-thru.
For a vegetarian who sometimes eats the
occasional fillet of fish.
but he's a big man.
He's a very big man.
He ain't fucking around. OJ will be here soon. It's always good to see him. We don't get to see him too often. He's got too many obligations, like the BBC and
He's
children.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Fuck it. He's doing a cooking show now on British TV.
He's also doing a podcast about sports.
Yeah. So he's. I want to see the cooking show really bad. I feel like OJ would be a really. I like watching cooking shows. I don't know if you guys do. I think they're
Okay.
vastly entertaining.
Ones that also come with a comedic element, or
Yeah. Well, like the Great British Bake Off is fucking awesome.
Okay.
You ever watch that show?
no, that's culture in America, I believe.
It's so good. It's got the guy who hosts it is I
don't watch
the dude who
television.
plays Old Greg from the Mighty Boosh.
Oh,
Forget his
yeah,
name.
yeah.
And he's so fucking funny.
I'm old Greg.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you know that, Yanko?
We'll show you
I don't
later.
get anything that you said in the last minute.
drinking Baileys from a shoe.
Yeah. He brings it up in the show and he goes up to a contestant. He's like,
I know what a Baileys is and I know what a shui is, but like that whole ritual.
He was doing shoeies before they were popular.
He walks in and he just goes, I played a transgender mermaid once. And it's like, yep.
Yeah, he
there
did.
you go.
He did. Also before transgender mermaids were popular.
True.
Yeah.
He was ahead of the curve.
Well ahead of the curve, wasn't he? Okay, so other than pierogies dinner that you didn't have to pay for, light choking, how have things been going?
Going great. I did the same thing you guys did, just with gla1ve actually and dicha. gla1ve and dicha, and then shui and exertion. I think it went pretty well. Then I did the playoff teaser thing, which I also did in Sydney. But apparently I didn't do a very good job because none of it was on the stream. It was just the other person who did
Frank
it.
to one side yet?
No. I think it was like I came unprepared completely, and then I was like stressing when I was there and didn't came out good. So I prepped this time for it, and I think I had a couple of good lines. So I think it's gonna work out well. So yeah, I'm curious to see how that will go because that's not my strong suit, and I'm trying to get better at it.
But you see the Resident Sleeper video. Remember, we've seen bits of that now
Yeah.
out there. You know?
Yeah. I was I was shocked. It came out with Pro League in those little like side bits, or in during the network. I'm like, oh, somebody actually did do this, but it was too bad. Like the lighting and like my
Well, we
face
did
was
this in Rio, right?
sweaty. Yeah, and
It was so hot in that room, bro.
It was scuffed.
That was fucked. That's when we did the dancing, the conga line stuff too.
Yeah. And the team talk, like hyping it up.
Yeah. So what else has happened skit wise? We had the one that came out today about the crosshairs, which is insinuating
That was good.
dick pics, which
That
is
was
well
really
timed with the Drake situation.
Yeah.
You guys seen Drake's dick?
I
No.
haven't seen it. I've heard the stories.
Yeah, he saw it.
He saw
yeah,
it.
he saw it.
How
yeah.
was it?
Yeah,
Big.
it was a
Okay,
big dick. He's right.
That's all you gotta say.
It was a big dick. A big dick.
All
Like
right.
if you're gonna get exposed, I think that you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was an advertisement, really.
Yeah. Well, maybe I don't know how. Look, there's our boy Steele with the Flom's got the picture popping up on Steam Friends. So what else do we have? Oh, the table read stuff. So we've had 2 parts of a 3-part.
Oh yeah. Those
That's
are
really
so
good.
Yeah,
and
those
a
are
really
funny.
good vehicle as well to get the players to do skits.
Although I was surprised to see Art taking part in a skit that was like free quesarado from the Furia prison.
Yeah, but if you can't laugh at yourself,
True.
I can't wait for the 3rd part. I don't want to do any spoilers.
Okay.
The
Third
Well,
Well, you
part.
could see on
The climax
you could
is
see
great.
on the poster it's Rob's Blame and Jame, right? Like I mean that's I guess a sort
The
of an
beta
Easter egg,
squad.
but
Yeah, Bader Squad.
that's going to be fun. I'm surprised that Blame took part.
Oh, there's
but-
going to be a masturbator joke in there, isn't there?
Oh, surely.
But I
For
think
sure.
there's people are catching up a little bit on it on Reddit in a sense of Like, I think some of that shit's really funny. Like, over the last year, you know, when we go to Cologne, all the confession sort of things, like the skits, some of them were really high quality. Like, you know, the G2 one where they're...
Oh, the one that Harry did this time last year.
Yeah, this time last year, that was great. This stuff here is like...
I'll trade you.
Yeah, I'll trade you. What do you mean? It's real life, like I have a chance. Okay. Once Hooksy
goes down,
it's so good. So I think also what's fun is once you get people used to it, you know, they're kind of looking forward to it. Like I'm fucking like eager to see this like third episode. I really want to see how it's going to go. So
I don't want to spoil or anything. Then I'll make sure that I'll wait.
Keep that under wraps.
But it will be a fun one. That's for sure. It'll be hopefully controversial. That's what we like. Controversy around here.
We need controversy.
Makes the world go round.
Like Donk shouting and nasty things.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I think Jason and I are too old to have cocksucker as an insensitive word in the vernacular, but apparently it is.
So there's been some new developments.
Oh dear.
It is worse than just cocksucker asshole.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into details.
But
I didn't have the information. This is information that was imparted to me.
So these are banned words.
It was things that if you said them, it's not bad words, but it's like if someone was shouting that in English, you would be like, this is taking it too far.
Okay.
You know, it's like more than trash talk, which is like, but I can see, I'm coming from like a Eastern European sort of background. I don't know, not background, just Eastern European. I think it's just like, you know, I can see how there's expressions like that when you translate them sound really, really bad.
Sure.
Right?
Like when a donkey gets stuck in the mud.
Yeah, exactly. Like that sort of a thing, or go back to your mothers, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like sort of a normal sort of curse or a normal version of trash talk or shit talk, right? So if we were to translate it and to you, it would be fucking holy shit. But actually it's in their own way. It's not like that bad. It's still kind of bad, but it is that sort of a thing where you can just, I think ESL did give a warning or no, I don't know. I saw that somewhere.
They've officially announced it. I don't know Dust 2 reported it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like whatever, but maybe someone just had a word with their manager and said, listen, like,
this is a bit fun.
You know, there's nothing against shouting and stuff, but this is like a little bit too extreme. You know, it's crossed the line of good taste, and that's not cool. And I would
imagine they're in a situation too, ESO, where their arm gets twisted by like the sponsors and the partners.
Yeah, so going out on broadcast.
Intel's like, can we not have someone shouting cocksucker in front of our logo, please? And you're kind of like, yeah, you do pay the bills, so yeah, we'll oblige.
Yeah,
but.
Just to make sure there's no like rumors or anything, like it wasn't anything like racist, it wasn't anything
no
sexist, cancelable, anything like that. It was just a bit too much.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right.
Give me the shoe, you fucking cocksucker motherfucker.
I'll be honest. I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care. So it's all like, you know, you're getting donked on. Just
everyone's been getting donked on.
Part of the experience.
Everyone getting donked on.
Yeah. Look, this is obviously the conversation today with the update, and people have been like, well, is donk nerfed now because of the Pika's advantage conversation? Is that going to have an effect on it? But at the same time, I don't know. The kid's just fucking sharp. So.
This is not going to be a 3-hour podcast. I can tell you that, because after this, I'm queuing up.
Oh, face?
I didn't have time to do it the whole day, so...
I'm going to play tomorrow.
After this, I'm going to play, but, you know, I think obviously a major update, right? Like, at least on paper, and then there's... Obviously, people are going to overreact immediately. Oh my God, they fixed it. There's no more Peaker's advantage. It's like, you have to play it, and at first, you're going to want it to be different. So, you know, you're going to maybe convince yourself a little bit. You're going to have a little bit of placebo effect in there. But yeah, on paper, the things that it says, movement is smoother, and
something to do with the spray as well. Like
the
spray,
like sub-tick networking was like improved. Like all of that sounds great, and we'll see how it plays and how it feels. Hopefully, it's an upgrade and improvement.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I played a little bit of deathmatch today, but it actually felt like quite chuggy, right? So you're playing in a 24-player server in deathmatch, and like it's just been updated, and people are reporting that frames are worse at the moment. So there's probably a couple of those factors in there. I played one of the arms race, aka gun game, for those old school people out there.
How was that?
I was like, oh, this is the stupid fun, right? It's not. I'm not playing this all the time. I just did it for the sake that it was just introduced into the game. So, but that seemed fine. But in terms of the particulars, I'm glad they've added this microphone thing, because, mate, I'm not at home using my SteelSeries headset. I'm a Sennheiser pair, right? And I love them. The fucking Game Zeros, Game 1s, whatever they are. But I'm having to find myself. So like me, Justin, Aaron are like 3-queuing in Facer, and then I'm having to use in-game mic to call stuff for players. And sometimes it's not going through. So I'm having to fucking yell into the microphone so that the mic picks it up. So now they've added a new VoIP threshold or whatever.
Slider, yeah.
So you can see where it is to see if it's working, which is good. Because otherwise I was having to use like voice_, loopback to hear myself. And you don't want that because it's like a voice jammer in CS.
Yeah.
But apparently I haven't tested this. I saw like some tweets saying the boosting is fixed. So it doesn't cause the jarring issue on the head anymore.
Okay.
That wasn't in the patch notes, but maybe that was something else.
There was something like player collision
Yes.
so maybe it falls under that.
Yeah, but that's a very good quality of life fix. I saw that like if you're a spectator and at the end of the round when the bomb goes off, like the camera zooms out to see like the explosion and stuff. That's nothing. It doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
Might be like a cool thing the observer can do from now on. Or, I don't know,
another
like
tool
a
for
nice
Rush League.
transition. Yeah,
Rush League.
Not that they don't have enough of those.
Yeah.
But otherwise, obviously a new case. Which has come with some new skins, which to me means nothing.
New knife?
I don't give a fuck about that either. The thing that is a little bit upsetting to me is this sticker placement situation. Because people immediately, if we're going to circle back to bad words, people have just gone fucking nuts. Mate, I saw...
Bro, the creativity of these people on the internet.
I don't mind the dicks. The dicks are fine.
How quickly they like... like, first of all, you need to remember all the stickers that exist.
Yeah.
Like, the different combinations you can make. It's fucking... You all fucked up.
Yeah, no, but
that's fucked
thing.
up.
Yeah, but this is like teenagers on the internet, or maybe not even teenagers, young adults. And we know the internet's like a place where fucking people act like anything goes. But the concern I have is these racist bad words that we've already seen.
And symbols.
And symbols. Can you imagine using Titan stickers to do that? What
mental.
the fuck?
It's mentally ill.
But then, so you're doing these things, but my concern is like, how is it going to be policed? Is it going to be policed? It's obviously not going to happen in an event. None of these players are going to be allowed to do that because they get spotted. Hey, what the fuck are you doing, bro? But my issue is going to be, what if I'm playing a Face-It game and some fucking kid has a gun with, now he drops me an AK and I'm carrying that shit around.
I think it's going to have to be because I think you can actually get in trouble for streaming that.
Yeah.
Like if you're streaming and that word pops up, that's like you get in trouble for, like you can get banned for a certain period of time. So I think they're going to have to be able to fix it so that can't happen.
But then how do you police it?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's
I
not
think
my department.
We talked about it dinner a little bit. I think there's also the sort of like, now that it's out, a lot of people are doing it just for the clicks and the memes, right? I mean, what sort of a person do you have to be to have a fucking swastika like on your gun in a game, right? You have to be a really fucked up individual. And for all the shit talking and like trash that people do in games and like, all the cussing out and stuff, like, it's a completely different level to have that shit like visible on your whatever, like all the time. So I'm hoping, and I might be wrong, that, like that's actually not going to be a widespread case. Once you start playing games, like, you're not going to see someone drop your gun and it's going to have some symbol or something like that on it. Like that's going to be so rare that it's going to be a non-issue. But maybe I'm just being hopeful.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. I kind of agree that they have to do something about it, but it's Valve, so then maybe they won't.
I think this is one of those issues that they would have to handle pretty quick.
Well, they will have seen all the replies they got to their fucking tweet today.
Yeah.
Because the problem is,
I think
what can you do physically when the stickers are on the gun and they are like set up in whichever way? What can you do? Like unstick them for the people and then they get it in their inventory?
I don't know.
But
ban those people.
But you would have to do that like for everyone, right?
How
like
do you pass
so that? People, so imagine someone having like Titan stickers,
and
then you get them back, or all that shit. That's worth like tens of thousands of dollars.
But what about this? If you do fucking stupid shit like those stickers, Valve take it away and burn it in a fucking incinerator.
Yeah,
I mean,
get fucked.
Or just get back. But how would they? Like, would they? Maybe it's possible to have a sort of an algorithm, like in the VAC, right, where if it registers that
this is the combination,
like the template, then you get banned immediately.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or maybe you like because it's like new, you just get like one warning and you have like, I don't know, 24 hours to change it.
Yeah.
And after that, you get banned immediately, like if that's how you set it up.
Yeah, I don't know. It is something they're going to have to tackle, though. One of the negative side effects of the update that's come out. Otherwise, everything's pretty positive.
Unintentionally negative.
Surely, I mean, I don't know. It's weird. Like, you must have seen that coming. Or maybe it's also like me, like,
I wouldn't have
being
seen that coming.
naive enough to think, yeah, some bad actors are going to do it, but in general, it's a good thing and people will appreciate it for what it is. But of course, always the shit things get a lot of publicity.
Yeah.
Yeah, with this, I've seen some that are really cool, like the way that they've used like flame stickers on like a Slate AK or whatever.
Yeah.
There's going to be some really cool combinations. And then when we're looking at a skin, it'll look like something we've never even seen before. And that'll be like, wow, look at this player that's actually, cares about, like, again, I don't give a fuck.
But some people do.
Some people do.
Some people
And
love
that's
that
cool.
shit. Yeah.
Alex was talking the other day. He loved this like knife glove combo that someone had and how the color scheme went out.
Scrawny has like 3 color scheme different like sets of gloves, knives, guns.
Some people love it.
So the only problem is like I don't really care for it too much. But if I am going to play more and whatever, like I really like, for example, green. But the problem is it's like the most expensive skin in the game. I'm not gonna like spend that much money, even though I really enjoy it. But I think probably soon enough I'm gonna have to refurbish my
Skins?
inventory a little bit. But some of the shit I had looks like real nice.
Well, maybe
in
we get a
CS2.
sponsor like a BitSkins or a CS Money.
Yeah. Let's get in there.
Maybe just go down that rabbit hole.
I don't know. No, but like, think about it. The events we work at are sponsored by those companies.
What's up, Dave?
Right? So,
Hey.
hey, here we go. The main event is
What's up,
here.
bro?
Hello,
Hop down.
hello,
We're
hello.
already
Take a seat
recording.
next to Jason.
Yeah, we're
yeah.
just
We're just getting all the bullshit out of the way
We're just
before
shooting the
you
shit.
get here. Now, the awkward thing is you kind of have to hold the microphone like this.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Is it live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's live, okay.
I mean,
It's
no,
not
no,
live to the internet. It's recorded.
we're recording, but we already started recording.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
Yanka said he already spoke to you today.
Yeah, we did. And you also already did one like podcast today.
Yeah. I haven't stopped talking today, basically. But I haven't spoken to you. So what question should we not ask, Yanka?
Nothing special. Some of it was like more broadcast. I was thinking about it. Like I actually was thinking about a question that I didn't want to ask because I want to save it for this podcast so that the answer is more genuine. But I think in the end I asked it. It was the one about, people were saying towards last year, like Carrigan, has he cleared gla1ve?
Yeah.
And like the IGL discussion, then Snappy gets put into that conversation because he's doing like more with less and with Dance and all of that. And I asked gla1ve, Lukas, if it's like, did that piss you off a little bit? And then
Did it piss you off?
I mean, of course, at some point maybe it was a bit harsh, but I think with the more time it took in Astralis and we kept losing, in the end I was like, okay, I actually understand why people are saying this. So I felt like with the results we brought, it wasn't good enough for me to be considered like the best in-game leader in the world. And I knew that something new needed to happen to me, I think, or to the Astralis team.
But there's like a difference between, people not thinking you're the best anymore or that you're the best ever.
Yeah.
And then to the stuff that people were also saying, like when you got picked up by ends, because there was also like conversations, why get, gla1ve, like, or this or that, where on the other side of things, it's like, we're talking about a guy who's won 4 majors, was the in-game leader of like
The team that revolutionized.
the best team ever, probably. The most dominant lineup ever. Is like, how is everyone? Sure, like the end Astralis years weren't amazing, but also what about that team in general? Like the changes that the team has been going through and all of that stuff. You need to take that into account. And it just seemed like people were almost going out of their way to like criticize you. Like how did that feel on coming, joining ends?
I mean, of course it felt bad because, as an athlete in general, you always look for the praise, right? And you also always want the recognition. And I wasn't getting a lot of that. And like I said before, there was a reason for it, but there was also some things like out of my control, I think, that I didn't really have a say on, I would say. So it was really tough, to be honest. But I think that this time for me, like it's kind of like a new chapter in my life and in my career to be here in Ends and kind of starting with a fresh start, I would say, with a new coach, which I really like to work with, and some players that respect me. And it feels great right now.
I think one of the things for me, right, and maybe you're alluding to it a little bit there, but so we had NIP, who for their last couple of years have been completely fucked by management. Astralis, for the same period of time, after you guys have this team, which is the best of all time, then things, online era, all this shit, then some interesting decisions start happening and they seem very management driven. when you reflect on that, or I don't know if you want to talk about it, but was a lot of like the problems not even from the members in the team? There's gonna be noise. It's alright. We got some.
Close the door.
No, we just got ambience. Alright. The mics are gonna pick up everything. Don't worry about that shit.
We got AI.
will fix
We got
it.
AI.
We got
fixes
AI.
it. But like, do you feel like you got sabotaged a little bit by management for a while there in Australis?
No. I don't,
Really?
No.
Okay,
I
alright.
don't really think so. I think they...
Fuck, I can't call them bad guys then. I tried. We tried.
I mean, I think actually Australis tried to do their best, but maybe we just didn't really know better. And I think having like, if you can like compare a guy like me to Snappy, I think Snappy was doing a lot of work to finding new players, finding new talents, and but maybe he has this like international team, so he can find a lot more players than I could. And I don't think there was a lot of like really good upcoming players in Denmark. Maybe there was Yabi, which Heroic took, and I think in general Heroic had some really strong players that wasn't really gonna go to Astralis, right?
I think that was kind of like always like the big miss with Astralis was when that Copenhagen Flames roster blew up and no one was getting there. But I mean, as you said,
Happened
like,
to all the dynasties, or
Yeah.
no, maybe all the like big teams who all missed like Fnatic, for example, when they were the
Well,
best, they didn't pick up new names.
yeah, and I think it was a good point. Like your focus is on being the best team in the world, not looking for the diamond in the rough or the potential out of the young players. So that has to be a weird situation.
But remind me, was it you and Zipex who during like in 2020 you took some time off, right?
Yes, it was.
Was there
That's
any
when
like
you were having a kid, right?
What?
You were having a kid then. That's
Yes.
why. Yeah.
I mean, I did have a kid, but after.
yeah.
I got a kid after.
because for me like even being on phase, right? Like for veteran players, that shit was tough. Like
Online,
having to
yeah.
play online and everything that people just had to deal with COVID, curfews and whatnot, and
The same with
everything being
Liquid.
shut down. It's just fucked,
Yeah.
right? And I was a little bit surprised that. I mean, okay, this is very hard to do, especially with partnerships and stuff. But it felt kind of weird that two guys took like some time off, and the rest of the guys had to keep playing, right? With obviously stand-ins,
Snappy and Yugi
and that's
and stuff.
and that's always and that's going to be tough. And I don't know if maybe that created a little bit of a rift in the team. But I remember thinking, if I were Astralis, I'd just give the whole team 3 months, 6 months, like just make sure like I can do whatever I can to keep this team together, right? And it's never seen before situation that you're dealing with. So do you think that was like a little bit?
I mean, back then when I took a break and I come back, and then Sipix took a break after me, or kind of
right.
like maybe
Yeah.
like 1 or 2 months after me, and I was like on a 3 months break or something. And then we played with S-Attack, and we actually ended up winning a tournament and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Fucking raised his stock. He's still living off of that
Yes.
2 months run with Astralis.
And I think actually S-Attack, he was doing really good back then with us. He was bringing a lot of energy that we were missing. And just like a new mood and everything, and it was really good. But we kind of were there where we should decide if we wanted to keep Sipix or we wanted to bring in S-Attack for real or for good. And it was such a hard decision because S-Attack was doing good, but Sipix was kind of like a part of the team for so many years, and now he was on a break, and we expected that he would come back stronger and stuff like this. So we ended up sticking with him, and it was like a team decision. And of course I'm still happy for it, but because he's a good guy, and he was also a really good player. Like, you remember his clutches, right?
Yeah,
Even though we haven't
Couple of them,
seen him for some time. But yeah, of course it was like a hard period back then, and I think it could be like that it was kind of the start of something bad.
Well, that's the thing. It feels like a lifetime ago now, doesn't it? We're in
Yeah.
2024.
Very
It
long
feels
ago.
so long ago.
You know what feels a lifetime ago for me is actually the first time I saw gla1ve and like his team playing was a Nexus. That was for me a very fun. That was a very fun team for me to. That was like the first team that actually challenged NIP. I feel like before
That's 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah,
so
before like 11. It was in 2013. But that team, also a fun part of that on that team was Nile and Nico with a C,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
upper,
yeah.
but also MSL and Pimp. So
Yeah.
how was it playing with Pimp? How was Pimp like as a teammate? Now,
did you watch
most
his
people
Did you
now-
watch his stream? Then you know how he is, right? No, I mean, Pimp was a nice guy. He was fitting into the team really good. I would say he was really hardworking, and you can see he's still that, both in game but also out game. So he was a hardworking guy and really actually a pretty good aimer back then.
Yeah.
He lost some skill within the years, of course. But he was a good guy, good player, and it was nice to play with him.
I got to ask you, we were talking about the Astralis VP major in Atlanta, that final, and had some insider information that you guys, Astralis and VP, didn't exactly get along back then. That VP liked to talk some shit to you guys, so there was like a little personal edge in that final for you.
I'm not too sure. I think this is when we brought like our first psychologist. You remember Mia, the blonde girl, and
We were told specifically that she body blocked you guys from the VP dudes.
She was doing some. She was going out to them, and when they were sitting and eating or something before the game, she was just staring them down and stuff like this, trying to make them afraid. And it was so funny for us because we never experienced something like that. I think she was trying to block them a little bit for us so they couldn't like scare us because those guys were pretty big guys. We were the young guns coming up and trying to beat them, right? So she did a good job with that, I would say.
We need to get Taz now on an episode and ask him how intimidated was he by the Scandinavian blonde girl.
Was the Clash for Cash the easiest money you ever made?
Yeah, it's the best money. It's the best money I ever made. As well, when we got that invitation, we were like, "What the hell? How is this even possible, guys?"
That was like 6 months after that final too, and it was like VP had just fallen off a cliff at that point.
We stole those money from E-League, and then they went to.
That was it.
Yeah,
They were hoping it was going to be a barn burner like the match, right? They were hoping they were going to get like a good match out of it.
Documentary series.
Yeah. And instead it was just like, actually, you're about to get fucking destroyed. I was like, me and Scoots, I think, was like the desk. I don't know. I think
No, it was me, you,
and Scoots.
Oh yeah, Scoots was hosting it, wasn't it?
Yeah. And we got those cool jackets.
Yeah, we did get those cool jackets. Got some nice jackets.
The only time I worked for E-League.
E-League had good merch.
Yeah. And good money, apparently.
It was a good tournament.
Yeah. Well, hey, 2 teams. What, $1 million, right?
Yes.
I think it was $250,000.
But
No, it was
Yeah, it was
250K, right?
It was 250K for only
Million
for
would've
one
been
team.
great, though. Yeah, all for one.
But E-League in general, I think, was a pretty good tournament back then.
Yeah. With Minsick.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd raise the bar for everyone else. That's if it weren't for E-League, like ESL wouldn't have been doing what they do for teams and raise their game. And I mean, anyone else, that's the benefit of competition.
Yes.
I think I accidentally got Minsick in trouble then because that's when I was still playing, right? 2016, first E-League season. And we were sitting there in the audience, a very small audience.
So you guys got wrecked by like the roster rules or something, wasn't it? Oh, that was the Brazilians.
It wasn't us, it was the Brazilians.
yeah.
But Minsick was talking to us about what was going to happen. And there was the whole contract thing because they were signing with SK, right?
Right.
And like they meant that they'd lose their spot or something like that. And Minsick was telling us all this shit. And someone listening in the crowd like overheard. Like, we're not. And then it ended up on Reddit or some shit like that. And this is while Minsick was just giving us all this info. And I was like, oh shit, sorry. Like, I don't know if that was our fault. Maybe we should have picked a better place to have that conversation.
Have that conversation
But,
behind closed doors.
to think that was like E-League came in 2016. Right, they only made it to 2018, and then we never saw them again.
Yeah.
Well, 18 was the Boston major, and I
And
don't
then
know.
they pivoted into more
And
white label
in
stuff.
19 they did. I was there with FaZe. We won that tournament, but it was a smaller one. It was like Cloud9 big.
Yeah.
It was 8 teams. I think that
Invitational, yeah.
that might have been their last one.
Yeah, they started doing like general gaming content.
I wonder. I don't think they'll come back next year, but we know that more TOs are going to be running events next year.
Yes.
Like we've already got word of some that are going to run some more, which is that competition that you're talking about, right? But the landscape, I wonder if it goes back to pre-COVID, right? Where you know what it was like. You guys were the first to actually make choices and take breaks.
That's true. There was so many tournaments, so many tournament invites, and some of them 100K, some of them 250K, some of them 500, and you had to kind of not only think about the price, but also about like where the location was because of the jet lag and all this kind of stuff, which you still have to take into consideration as of today. But there's so many tournaments, and I guess we're going to see some of it again.
I think it's gonna get crazier in some ways. Like I know some of these tournaments popping up next year are paying like appearance fees to the orgs, like 200K just to show up.
But that has to be public, right?
I don't know.
I think that as part of the rules,
And every team needs to get it.
Wait, can you get invited?
I think they can still do events like that, but they just need to publicly say
We gave this team $200,000
to be
Yeah.
here. I think.
Oh, really?
I need to go back and read the rules,
Okay.
but that was something.
And also,
they put
that
out.
was when they initially announced it.
Yeah, we
They
haven't
said
got an
like it
update
was
yet.
going to be updated and whatnot, and it hasn't really been too many.
Well, they've got
news
10
out of
months
it.
to do so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we'll see more with that. But
Let's-
I'm excited.
Let's. I want to zone in a little bit on this end situation because we had Natsu come on like the week after all that went down.
Yeah,
Natsu-
pretty much as it was
Yeah,
happening.
Natsu
Yeah.
came on and like told us all the insanity of the situation of trying to like find a new roster. He mentioned like you'd had like a say in the team, so like I mean it happened over a weekend while you guys were at Blast in an event.
Yes.
So like, did you have like options in that you had to like research as an IGL and say these 9 guys are like who I want to play with, who I
Well,
want to work with?
before you answer that, I think we should start with when you were joining Ants.
Sure.
How much did you know about the team? I think you said in an interview you knew there might be changes, but
You didn't expect
you
4
probably
people.
didn't know that it was possible to only have one guy, right?
I mean, for me it was a bit confusing. To be honest, I didn't have a lot of offers when I was benched in Australis, and I really wanted to start playing when CS2 came out. So for me, it was really important that I was there from the beginning to know the meta, all this kind of stuff. So ENT was one of my only offers, I would say. I had one other, but it wasn't like 100%, and I wasn't too sure about it and stuff like this. Not too sure about the players, and I thought I was a bit more sure in ENT that I actually was. So I got a little bit confused that everybody was leaving except for Dyha. So yeah, it was kind of a surprise for me, but I knew that there was possibility for some changes when I joined, but not like in this regard.
So now,
So now the 9 guys, you have this opportunity and you're looking into them. And did you see something in their gameplay that was like, this is the right way to go?
I mean, like you said, we were really late into the roster lock before the armor, so we needed to do something. And either we could pick some leftovers, I would say. There was some different opportunities, and I don't think it would only be like not bad players, but still like pretty good players. Some from Denmark, like some other guys from international players, right?
Yeah.
And then we had the 9 guys, and this is what we wanted the most. And one of the reasons was that we saw some like potential in them, but the other reason was that they got the armor spot with them.
Right.
So when we got told that this was a possibility, we were pretty hype about it, I would say.
Yeah. Where do you even start as a leader of a team like this? Like, what's the first thing you start doing in practice? Like, do you take this core from 9? Like, where do you begin?
With the other guys, with the old ends team, I let them do a lot of the stuff because I didn't want to come in and they had a lot of tactics already. So I didn't want to come in and just give them a lot of new stuff. So I actually wanted them to keep the stuff and implement me into their stuff. But when the 9 guys come, me and Kuben, we made like everything from scratch.
Yeah.
Took some of the things that we learned from ENT and some from Australia, some from Apex. So we just mixed everything, something from 9, and we tried to mix everything. And it has been pretty insane, I would say, because there's so many different playstyles.
Yeah.
But still, it's been really nice also to experience this.
Did you expect it? When you practice coming into this event, were you like, there's some magic here that we can discover? But
No, not
like
at all.
This run is crazy.
I'm still confused when I see that we have been beating these good teams because like the practice haven't been that good, I would say. But we're also trying a lot of different stuff in practice. But when we are at these official games, it's MR12. So you can actually just like make a game plan and see like this is the tactics that have been working in practice. Let's use these 4 for the first 4 buy rounds and let's go with it. Hope for the best.
Yeah.
And of course we're also doing some like some tweaks to the tactics.
I think like watching the team, obviously Vertigo is a staple and like a conversation from the desk and the people at home and say this is the core that was a very good Vertigo team. And you come in and you're like, well, I guess I have to play Vertigo, right? Like but you and Dyha playing A, obviously not the members of the 9 roster. Did they like tell you, hey guys, this is how we were so good at this part of the map, or how did you kind of work out how you guys would fit in as part of this?
So with the old NSOS roster in Abu Dhabi and in Finland, in Helsinki, I played A also on CT side Vertigo with Madden, and it was working out pretty good. So when Madden left, we were thinking about what roles are we putting Dyha in.
Yeah, I used to play B and mid, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we felt like we had Goofy and Kyler on B, and this duo on B was really good in 9. And this is why we just brought Pavel to A, and me and him playing together. That's pretty
he
good.
has some nice impact kills, like
Yes.
multi-kills over towards that part of the map and stuff. And I actually like Vertigo more in CS2 than I do in CSGO. I still don't love it.
Yeah.
I think it's more fun to watch in CS2 than CSGO. I still don't think it's, again,
I mean,
I can see
I
I'm
think it's
losing
because of Pika's
Yanko here.
advantage. Everyone's
I
just
think
taking
so.
fights all the time.
I think so.
I mean, I just look how they massacred my boy Inferno, and then I'm like, it's actually kind of sad that it's not Vertigo is not the most claustrophobic map anymore, kind of because of Inferno being the way it is, and I think that's why. I think Brcho tweeted out today there was only
Once
one Inferno
in the
being
group
played
stage.
in the whole group stage.
7 in the play-ins and the group stage combined.
So it's so many teams veto it nowadays, and even if they as the first ban, and then even if not, no one really wants to play it because except for VP. That's why it was played in the play-ins, because VP was in the play-ins.
I mean, you could understand it if it was best of ones, but best of threes, we should see it a lot more, right? But this just like shows that it's a bad map, I think.
You're the perfect man to talk about it, though. You guys had Nuke and Inferno when you were the absolute best team in the world. So now you can look at this current version. Is it just fucked? Is it just bad?
I will be honest and say I didn't play it that much.
Yeah.
I played it only like matchmaking, and I think it's pretty bad. I would say it's too small. Everything is too narrow. Like smokes can block too much, Molotovs can block too much, and it just feels weird. And I think like it's so funny when you see like the comparison, like from 1.6. It was such a wide map, so big. It was so loved by everyone. Not all of these small details everywhere. And then you go to CSGO and it becomes like a bit worse, but still really good and people like it. And now it's completely fucked.
No, it's like no,
It's gone the
he's
wrong
bang on.
direction. Yeah.
He's bang on, 100%. Like even though they nerf some of the positions on A, which I like Pit's not as powerful now, especially with the smokes count one way. Graveyard is open, so it's
It's useless.
Yeah, the balcony as well. Now you can just launch off and it's smaller. It doesn't feel as powerful. I think that's good because I fucking hated like going up short side with all those fights that you could take. But then in terms of getting there, that's the problem. And you're bang on. Like 1.6. Think how open long was. Think how big the CT arch to CT spawn was. It was fucking huge.
Yeah.
Mid to Bs would feel feasible if you didn't have to run through a tight little doorway where it could be watched from Speedway as well. It's like fuck me, man.
Yeah.
Like what do we do? Hopefully they can understand that, because I think that what if they just made it 25% wider?
Yes.
Yeah, that was your like suggestion on Twitter, right?
I think
like 30.
so.
I think you tweeted 30%. I think that's a good idea. Like at least as a sort of a starting point, you know.
That poll's not
The
happening.
bomb
They
side,
just
I
said
don't think
further.
the bomb side has to change that much. It's mainly like the mid and the banana and all these really
Bananas
narrow
well,
spaces that needs to be like wider,
And
right?
it's a big problem that they put that building up so you can't throw the gob flash or the window flash anymore, right? Because it was again, Mahone, great video about the evolution of banana and all of that stuff, but it makes it harder to fight. When you add on top of that, you can smoke from CT spawn, like the deep smoke. It's really hard.
Yes.
So then you have to do something else, and you're already on the back foot as T. And it's not, fun. Not that it has to be fun for you to play it competitively, but it makes it much more difficult to enjoy and to do stuff. That's why people are just like, fuck this, just ban it.
Yeah, no, I agree. What do you think of the overall meta at the moment, right? Like we have Counter-Strike. I was saying today on HTV Confirmed, I don't know if you guys agree. I think the overall scene at the moment is pretty weak. I think it's pretty, because and that's like, not to put shade at teams who are doing well at this event. That's just to say that in the last 6 months, look at most of the rosters in the top 10. Most of them had a roster change, right? Mm-hmm. And we're also in a period of flux because of the newer game. So I think we're still in an establishing period. But every good team understands that Counter-Strike is like a decision tree. If this happens, this is how we react. These are our options. It's just about getting as many players on the same page as possible, that within the team of understanding what decisions the boss and the coach want.
Yes.
Right? So what do you make of the meta at the moment as someone who established the last real meta shifting era?
I mean, the Pika's advantage, of course, has a big influence in the meta. I think that's why we see people winning so many rounds on T side. And when you win rounds on CT side, probably because you're also going offensive, right? Because then you have the advantage. But I feel like, as you said, like the top teams right now didn't really get set yet. And some of the newer teams, I mean, I feel like almost every team is new at the moment.
Yeah.
It feels like this. There's
a
no
lot
like
of new teams out there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams still have the same core, but change like 1 or 2 players. But everything is like total chaos, it feels like. And I feel like that the meta is kind of weird because everybody's still trying to figure it out with nuking the smoke and how do you use the nade and is there better ways to do it, and yeah, I think it's pretty tough.
It's a combination of players individually have to get used to the slightly different mechanics, like you said, the peeker's advantage, the spray and whatnot, and then to the fact that, the blowing up of smokes. Then as a team, you need to start figuring out, right? Like we are yet, mostly the nading of the smokes happens like kind of individually and instinctively, like, oh, wall of smokes, we're going to break it. We don't see that many strats where like, you're
like an explosion behind it. We know they're going to smoke deep banana.
Yeah,
we're going to nuke this. The flashes are going to come.
Or even the T's are executing, and then the second layer of the execute is you nuking your wall of smokes to take that extra space. Let's say if you would do it on Ancient B or on Mirage or something.
Yeah.
I saw a cool little thing. I think it was Gamer Legion or Heroic, where they did like it wasn't even a strat. It was like they ended the round on B overpass in like 3v4. And they didn't smoke, but they were ready for. So the CTs played like water, like they had a defensive smoke that they placed in between pillar and barrels, right? Like it's a common smoke that the CTs use. And the guy from water who was smoking heaven or flashing or mollying barrels and flashing, he had an HE that breaks that smoke. So once his teammates said they threw the smoke, he broke it, flashed, and they got the 2 kills and they won a 3v4 on B, which was kind of like huge, it was a swing round, it was a recent round, something like that. So I was like, ooh, this is actually a cool little like thing that you can see the teams are thinking like next level in a sense of, okay, this is the setup, this guy might be saving a smoke, and that is super powerful when he's like, just shoulder peeking somewhere late round, there's no pressure, and then he can pop a smoke. But if you have just one HE, all of a sudden that play isn't as powerful as it is. So I think most teams are still playing CSGO, in CS2, with trying to do these little things, but they're not really exploring as much all the possibilities from the fact that it's CS2, which to some extent it's understandable with how many officials you have and all the changes. And
I think it's also understandable with how many new teams there is, because when you have so many new teams, then you try to implement the basics first, and then all these kind of crazy things comes. Yeah. So I think like in 2 months we're going to see much more with nuking your own smoke, flashing behind it and stuff like this to trick the enemy, make them rotate away from the side, and then you do it, right?
One of the first things that was being done like that was like Inferno. You throw the pool molly as T, right? And you see that they maybe want to play retake or whatever. They don't come there. You re-molly it or something. Then you come and you explode. You extinguish your own molly and you pop behind. And people did it on Nuke as well, on Door, right? And all this stuff. And that was like really powerful at the time. Because the CT guy is like, be on Dust 2 as well. Like that became the meta for a little bit until people realized it. And then they started smoking the molly earlier to avoid that. But for example, that was super effective when we started doing it too. And those things are, that's like just the next level of evolution.
I think all these things are really good. I remember you guys doing it back then also on Inferno. But I think it's like kind of like a gimmick play. You can do it once, and then for next 2-3 games, it's hard to do, right? Because they will be so aware of it.
But you get them to use use the utility, right?
Or be afraid of it. You can flash. You can extinguish it and don't go, right? Just to put pressure, stuff like this. It's important, I think.
Yeah. So I think I have a couple of questions. One, because of this state that we're in right now, and we have the next 6 weeks is the RMRs and the major, but then after that, with how influx all the teams are, do you think we're going to have another big roster shift again?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. That's really, really tough to say. I think maybe we will see after the major. It might be a bit too early, I think, right?
Okay. Think closer to the break?
I think closer to the break.
There's got to be a couple teams in there that are just
of course.
There's always, nothing that would compete with the last major coming into CS2. That shuffle was
What
crazy.
if Astralis wanted you back? Well,
I
here's
mean,
the,
when
here's the team.
when they benched me, I said no, thank you, I will never come back.
Okay.
But then after some time, I said, let's see what will happen in the future, stuff like this.
Emotions cooled down.
Yeah, emotions cooled down. I was pretty mad when I got benched. But I said also, like, in the future, if I'm being a coach, it will be like maybe a good possibility, stuff like this, right? So we will see where life takes me. But I'm not saying no to anything beforehand.
I don't know, just Device, Yabi, Staum, Stare, and gla1ve sounds pretty sick if you ask me.
Ooh.
It does. There's no way around it.
You just mentioned that you only had 2 offers from teams coming out of being benched. That had to have pissed you off. Like there's like a we kind of
Like how he just brought that back. Like,
so
I'll go back to that thing.
I've been thinking about it, like, because like it is crazy, and I mean there was probably a period during the online era where like that's a tough era and probably fell out of touch a little bit with the meta, and that seemed kind of obvious looking at Astral's play at the time, but. To be 4-time major champion in the conversation for the greatest IGL of all time, like you had to be there and be like, why people are really undervaluing me.
Yeah, of course it was pretty tough, but it was also kind of an eye-opener, I think.
Okay.
Just to realize that, okay, I need to do something different. I cannot just do the same thing I did in Astralis and hope that it will work out. I need to take more charge of which players are playing, take more responsibility of how we play, all of this kind of stuff. Be more like on hands with everything.
I think also, dude, you got dealt a shit hand in that Astralis lineup with gla1ve and gla1ve, because no offense, but you're not an anchor. Like you can't play anchor as CT for 2 reasons. In today's CS, your mechanics are probably not good enough to do it. And second thing, you were the fucking one of the best rotators in the world. Like I said it time and time again, these guys are probably getting sick of it, but when we used to play Prime Astralis, right? Like, sure, Device is going to get his kills and everything. It's fucking gla1ve with killing, like being at the right place at the right time, getting 1 kill, or finding like guys through the smoke, or doing something, right, that was really like fucking your game up. You know, that was super annoying. So
IGLs just didn't play your positions. Like fucking Mini on Nuke was just like, watching you play that was crazy.
Yeah, so I think that was you were kind of forced in it because gla1ve and gla1ve are, you know, those 2 guys, but
I think it was mainly screwing a bit up with our T sides because I was playing in map control. gla1ve wanted map control, gla1ve wanted map control, and we would need an AVP player also in map control, but we couldn't all play it. So it ended up being like, first we tried first we tried putting me on the AVP. Because this was about the role clash, right? And Lucky would be like in playing Anchor or Lurk on T side, and then we tried to switch things up. Lucky back on AVP, blame to Lurk or config to Lurk or something like this, and it was just like a big mess with all these role things.
So do you feel like it wasn't, you know, you weren't like, you didn't suddenly become bad or anything, it just you were playing out of position? And is it now, you talked a little bit about it in one post-game interview or something, but that, you know, you still have to focus on your own game. You know, it's not just, hey, I'm the in-game leader, I need to do, like I have to be able to frag and contribute as well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, probably there was also one of the things that I did bad in the end of Astralis. I was thinking too much about the team and too little about myself. And I think I mean, when you are together with some players that thinks a lot about themselves and it's working for them, then you're realizing that it's really important for you to do as well. So back in the days, I was playing a lot of these rotating roles and I understood them perfectly. And I had my teammates playing anchors and doing the job. But later I had to kind of focus more on myself because I was playing anchor, and as anchor player, you cannot think about the team all the time. And this is like still like giving up control, like on the overview of the map is still hard for me when I'm playing anchor, and I still have some anchor spots.
That's been a balancing act for every IGL we've ever spoken to, I'd imagine, over the years. Is, I mean, even IGLs, I'm sure when you were playing in Phase 2, like I know when I was in Liquid with Stewie, the frustration of trying to focus so much on the team that your individual game drops, and then you go into a week and they were like, oh, I have to focus on my individual game this week, and then the team drops.
Yes, exactly. And that can be hard. But I think what you need to do is that you need to kind of give the responsibility to the players, focus on your own role, but you need to learn them how to get better. Like, not just tell them what to do, but they need to figure it out themselves. Like, you need to tell your players, like, if he's playing, let's say, it could be outside on nuke, right, on CT side. Let's say I'm holding ramp and he's playing outside on nuke. I need to tell him you need to watch some demos, because this, what we're doing right now, is not working. I cannot be sitting on ramp and be calling the rotations. I'm not saying I'm doing that, right? But it could be just an example. And I think this is important, that you learn your players these kind of things.
Oh, I think this is like that decision tree I was talking about, right? In the sense that everybody kind of has to make the cohesive decision. Otherwise, you take your eyes off the prize for a minute. You don't focus on your crosshair. You're looking at the radar. Someone steps out and kills you. Well, now the round's fucked. It doesn't matter that you were controlling the rotation. Your death has cost a massive gap. Like that right there, and then you fucking get tilty as fuck.
You're just like,
so
can I just focus on my crosshair for 3 seconds?
Fuck, that's such a miserable thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's when you look at the Astralis team when you're winning everything and everyone doing their jobs perfectly. That's why it probably facilitated you to rotate with such ease, because you already knew exactly what everybody was meant to be doing.
Yes, exactly. And I think it was good for me to have the big overview and control the rotations and let the guys focus on their crosshairs, because this was the best for us. And I also think that you saw it when Vitality tried to swap roles with the Magic playing more like rotations and Apex playing more like ramp on nuke, and I think he played B on Mirage, Magic playing connector, something like this, and it was not really working out for them. And I think it's the same reasons. Like, Apex probably was thinking too much about the overview of the team and the rotations and all this kind of stuff, and Magic focusing maybe too much on his crosshair, right? So it's not working out for every scenario to just put like your best players in the best positions.
I was discussing this recently as well, that with how things are changing, and it's becoming hard, for example, to just put your in-game leader, or let's say your weakest player mechanically, to, let's say, just play B Mirage, right? Because we're seeing more and more teams put their stronger T anchor in B apps to put pressure, or even go for fights, or like get him out of apps, or whatever it is, So I'm thinking that sooner rather than later, and we see that from some teams on some maps, like, actually your in-game leader should play rotation on most maps, because if he does that, he can find the correct timing with the information, because you do a lot of the prep, you watch also, you can maybe see things in game faster and like catch some tells from your opponent, and then put yourself in the right position, whether that's going to be to bait for your teammate, or he's going to bait for you, and you can find kills that are going to be easy, right? Like, just because you're in the right position, you're not going to have to go for that many aim fights. And even when you go for fights, since you're rotating in, it can be someone's flashing you through a smoke, right? Or you're trying to use timing like on some play. So
I think it could also be good, like Mirage CT is just a perfect example. Now I'm just thinking, but like having, like, you could have like a star player on B, and then you could play the in-game leader in rotation. But every time the star player has a good spawn for like mid or connector, he could just take it and have some fights he can do in mid. But he's playing B mainly. But then you could swap. It will also like fuck a bit around with the mindset of the T side.
Spawn-based
We're
Counter-Strike,
coming back to spawn-based Counter-Strike. It's all full circle.
But that's where you need every member of your team to understand what they need to do in certain scenarios in these roles, right? And that is where the problem is. But with where Counter-Strike will eventually head, I imagine we'll see a lot more like that, right? Mm-hmm. It'll get to that point where you can... Because the thing is, a map like Mirage, again, it's a map that everybody plays. Everyone should have a good understanding of. And the star players love jumping out window, back turn, running up mid, ready to headshot. I don't want to do that. I'll let right?
But the young guns do.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even jump to cat anymore.
No, really. But that's the thing. If you could... And I guess at that point, it's... Well, we already know we have moves on CT sides. Like, that's not... People know this move. But that's essentially you're just calling strats on the CT side.
Yes.
Like, that's what you're doing. You're just calling a strat on the CT side. That's it.
It's funny because, like, sometimes you're thinking even the CT side right now need to be even more structured than the T side, right? Because there's so much peak advantage, so you cannot just hold the angle and hope for the best. So you need to have some good mid-round decisions.
We were talking a lot about the update before you joined us. Have you played any of it?
I played a little bit.
Do you have the news yet? Have ESL told you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Breaking. What's the news?
I think it's official.
Oh, they put it out there?
Yeah, so the official news is
we missed it.
is that we're playing on the new update.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Maybe. Wait.
I don't know.
I think it's... No, it is official. It is official. They told me we had a meeting just before about it. So it's official, and but there was something like if they found like a really bug that was really giving an advantage to some people, then they would go to the old patch.
What about the smoke one-way stuff? I saw Hades putting some tweets out about it. What are you worried about
guess,
that shit?
My guess would be that ESL is talking to Valve about fixing it quickly.
Okay.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
That's what I hope for, at least.
Cool.
If
You should send him a DM.
Yeah.
Say, please fix this.
The problem is also the FPS drops
Yes.
with the new smokes, which is like just going to be
The hardware here
shitty
is
thing
pretty
to
good.
deal with.
It's like 4070s and what?
900K
Yeah.
Intels. Like, I mean, that's
Top of the line.
top of the line, yeah. But sometimes with this, it's like maybe there has to be a driver update or something when they do it. That happened like, when the game was released a couple of times. So I'm not sure about all the X's and O's.
This here tells me it was probably unanimous from all the teams then that they wanted.
It wasn't
to plan.
unanimous.
It wasn't?
No.
It wasn't. I think it was, right?
But didn't you guys wanted to play on the old patch?
Us?
Yeah.
I think we didn't care. We just told you,
all
yourself,
right.
whatever happens, we're fine with it.
Okay.
Like, we
Yeah.
just don't want any bugs.
Yeah, of
okay.
course.
Okay,
So,
okay.
no smoke bugs. We don't want to go up against Manesi.
I think
and then
if this-
he found like 10 new smokes. Like,
It's got to be weird though with the RMR next week because you are kind of like we want to get as much time on the new patch as possible.
but we are in RMRB. We have time to practice. We can play on the old one. It's fine. All the teams in RMRA, they want to
They're
play on the new patch, of course. And I understand that, and I respect it also.
Yeah.
But you said I should just write a DM to Val, and I did that not long time ago.
Nice.
And I said you need to remove the 1400 loss bonus.
What do they say?
They just said thank you for the feedback. So let's see what happens. If they do it,
At least
you
they
can
replied-
thank me,
they
guys.
replied.
All I'll tell you is it was on this podcast as we were talking about and saying, hey, MR12 might be a good thing.
Oh.
But I wish they would,
Yes.
test it somewhere first before they switch to it. They just switched to it.
Yeah.
Do you like MR12?
Oh, what?
Do you like MR12?
Obviously not if you ask for the money to change.
I like it if we change the economy.
Yeah.
Then
Okay.
I think it will be much better, to be honest.
For both sides, just the CT side?
No, both sides, because I think this losing the second round, it's too bad because I think you're not in that big of a disadvantage when you get the bomb plant or just in general on the second round. You can win those rounds if you have some tactics or some good deagle shots, something like this. But when you get those, when you lose the second round, both as T and CT side, then you're screwed, right? Because then you have 1400 in the bank. And you cannot even, the thing is on CT side, when you have 1400 in the bank, you cannot even buy to zero. You cannot force fully because then you will have like 43 or something for first buy round.
I see a lot of teams doing it, and they go into first gun rounds with like
Yes.
either SMGs or no util.
They only leave like the Opper with 400 or something just so he can buy
1,000, I
like
think,
properly. But yeah, that was like the initial reaction like from a lot of people is like it's actually all right, but the 1400 thing is probably going to be a little bit too much.
It wouldn't surprise me though, knowing Valve, to collect all the data up until after the major before they made that type of decision, just to see how drastic it is, right? Because we know what we feel and we know what we think, but they need to see it.
But how do you check stuff like this? I mean,
They just collect shitloads of data over all the matches, and then they'll look at, and then they'll see what the
They'll
outcomes
see like
are.
in games where a team, let's say, lost the second round and won the pistol. How many of how do those halves end in general? What does it mean? And I think though, I think it's if they make that little change, I think it's much better because you could make the case. I think what you said was really important. In fact, that second round for the T's with the plant, it's actually they might have an advantage because they don't have that much in money advantage. But when you're T, you pick where you're gonna go, right?
You're
like
dictating the
you
time.
dictate where the fight's gonna happen, so you can put your like AKs in a good spot, the pistols to support, and you can have like advantageous fights. And then to lose that and have to have 1400, right? It feels like too punishing.
maybe shouldn't we also just like put it to like right numbers, like 1500 or like
It is interesting
2000,
with the
25, 3.
I've learned
35.
this maths for so long though, gla1ve. We're just, I'm still having a hard time. Sometimes I'm sitting there going, oh, it's 16. Oh, shit.
Yeah,
wait,
sometimes I forget halftime comes out.
Yeah,
I'm just like, oh,
I
God.
think though Shue said one interesting thing today in our podcast is like he said sometimes like the game like ends and I think there's still rounds to be played, and I think that's also something that teams and in-game leaders too are still sort of figuring out what's the new, like people said, what's the new 11-4, like what's a good halftime score, what's not, like when's the best time to force to eco, right, depending on if it's 9-9, what do you do, and all those sorts of score lines and how to manage the economy in terms of sometimes like the saves or the, you drop one AK and you go with pistol. Like, what do you do? I think we're still probably this whole season, right? The first half of the year, I think people will be feeling it out before they really sort of nail it into.
And then something will change.
Something will change. Then the economy will change.
Well, I guess the new 11-4 must be 9-3, I guess.
Yeah.
Something like this.
Yeah.
7-5's the
Sonic's
new
law lives on.
But no, the 8-7 is 6-6.
We need to hear Sonic. It needs to be Sonic that is saying what the new law is.
He's got to put the tweet out.
What's your favorite map right now? Ancient, because you fucked Australis.
Yeah, and we got fucked by mouse. It felt so good.
I was casting that one. That was a quick game.
Yeah, it was. It was. I think we were a bit too relaxed for that game, to be honest.
Well, that's what I think. You just had that big outpour of emotion.
Yes, I think so too. Also, qualifying for the arena was almost like lifting the trophy for some of us.
Yeah.
I think. And,
Diha he broke down. He was having a good time.
Yeah, and I think we kind of chilled too much after. Didn't do the same kind of things that we did for the other games, and we tried to, but it had also been like 4 days in a row with best of threes, trying to prep a lot, and it took like a toil of some of all of us, I think. Yeah.
But your favorite map, you got one?
Train.
I say,
Shut up.
I mean, I really want them to bring back Dust 2. Then I would say Dust 2.
Really?
I think, yes.
Wow.
Bring back Dust 2 or bring back Cash and
Ooh,
get out
we're
with
speaking my language.
Inferno.
Okay.
Get out with Inferno. I mean, Cash wasn't the best for us back then with Astralis, but just bring something new in, right?
Okay.
That's a cool map.
But to my favorite map, probably Nuke, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say if we did, so there's 5 maps in the pool that are there the whole time, and then there's 2 maps that change every season. So this
After each major.
After each major, yeah.
After each major. Could be good. Could also be one map.
one.
Yeah.
One feels a little bit.
One
too
after,
little.
each, one after each major is 2 a year.
Yeah, that would be good, I think. Maybe one each major. I think 2 is
Okay.
a bit too much, to be honest, because it takes some time to learn a new map.
I
and
think
all
every
this kind of
major is
stuff.
allowed. I was thinking like every year.
I think every
Like
major would be sick.
one every year?
Well, because, look,
I
No,
was in my head it was 2 every year, but I guess it doesn't really matter.
it
if
should
you
have
do
been one every
major.
year already.
Yeah.
Right?
At
It
minimum.
should have already been like that. And it also should have been the major at the end of the season, which we'll have as of next year. So, like,
Well, of this year, the second one is at the end of the year.
but so starting with the second season of this year,
yeah.
right? So let's say, but I would be expecting a map change after this major.
Yeah, surely. Hopefully, it's Inferno because it's just not great.
But they just
right
put
now.
so much effort into it.
But I don't want another fucking, like, okay, we had Ancient, then Anubis. Like, don't give me fucking.
You don't want new.
I don't want baggage or something like that.
You can't have baggage, mate.
I know, but just give me, redo.
Train.
Yeah, where's the new train?
Why are you just laughing
right?
at me?
Like
Like,
some of those maps are
Cobble's
staples
unfavourable.
and
Cobble, it's unfixable. Unfixable.
Let's get that one. 1/3 of the map never gets used. T-spawn and that whole the watchtower area.
You Americans had a decent version for a while. Forge.
Forge.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good in 1.6.
There we
I remember
go.
That one.
I don't really remember.
Now we're
Forge.
talking.
It's
There are a lot of old school
it's
maps.
like Cobble.
Okay.
But you could enter into the back of the B-bomb site.
Oh, I do remember that now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It was a pretty
Yeah.
good map.
Yeah, not a bad one at all.
Commerce
Tuscan.
route.
Yeah, I
Tuscan,
don't
that
know
train's
why.
good.
that's
That train's dead.
listen, I'm on that train, but I think it's more nostalgia talking
Yeah,
for all of us. Like, how are you gonna, in CS2 with all like the different nades and everything? That also the banana. I feel like it's maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it would be tough to play it to.
There's so many enclosed
I don't
positions
think
in
it
that,
would play too well.
It would
So-
still be the CTs running down mid like apes.
Probably.
Control an SA1 or 2.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
With
But-
eco at least they would. Not sure with weapons.
Let me ask you like a kind of a Counter-Strike adjacent question, but
Counter-Strike adjacent.
yeah. Well, it's involved a little bit. Let me.
Okay.
No, but because you are.
What are you
Fuck
going
off,
back to
you
the
two.
milking table?
Yeah. Because you're a father and now you're also competing at the
dad
same
talk.
time.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
The
Give me
dads.
one. This is the first father guest we've had.
All right.
But yeah,
Well,
because like
now too. He's got like 7 kids.
he doesn't count.
He's still playing a lot.
Listen,
He's still playing a lot.
that's only
Yeah,
from
I
Jason.
believe
You
it.
not me and Chad are.
We're on your team.
We're on your team.
But what's that like? Because I know like I had my baby during Katowice last year, and that like I felt like all last year was like a haze where I just kind of felt like for the first time in my career I was like a passenger because you're trying to figure this shit out, how having a kid is going to work, getting working with your partner, trying to keep a baby alive. What's it was just when they start crawling, bro, they try and find ways to
Kill themselves.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
fair enough.
But what's that like now competing with one?
I think it's getting better. I would say, because I think with the years going by, it's getting easier for me, because in the beginning everything is so new and you have to kind of learn your role in this. You have to kind of have talks with your partner about how is everything going to work when you're traveling, when you're at home, when you have long practice days, long official days like at home. All this kind of stuff you need to figure out, and you need to kind of find the best balance for you and just for the family in general. And I think in the first few years, now he's 2 years and some months, but the first few years about that, I think was pretty tough, because I think I had a hard time taking time off from being with my kid, because I felt like some kind of responsibility to be with him. But now I'm more like, I need to work more, and it will take some hours away from my kid. And this is like the life I have decided, and there's not really much to do about it. I cannot just be playing like 8 hours a day in practice and then say, okay, now I'll go be with my family. That's not how it's working for me anymore.
Yeah, because you just can't like casually thinking about Counter-Strike in the downtime when you're spending time with the kid is like...
Not really. I mean, I could, but then my girlfriend would say, do you even listen to what I'm saying right now?
They say that anyway, though. Right? Like you're in that whether you like it or not. But I think... I think... what's great, I suppose, for you is you did all the amazing stuff. Then you went, all right, I'll have a family now, and now you have this like perspective, like of a dad and someone who's accomplished everything, and you're getting back on the path where I said it before, but you fucked Astralis the other day, like. So and
they might be pregnant now.
Looking at Carrigan and Snappy as examples, right?
You're in the right hole.
Oh, come on. You're only 28. They're both in their 30s. I think Carrigan's 32, Snappy's 33, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe even a little bit more.
Yes.
So, like, if anything, you're going into, if these guys are ready to go off, your best in-game leading years.
It could be.
Imagine.
Could be. That's what I'm hoping for. I mean, I see a world where it's my time and their time is over.
but this is why, like, and I know obviously you can't talk about this stuff and you're focused on your project and everything now, but if there is big roster changes again, right, and gla1ve's back in the conversation, and those big roster changes could be fucking any team, literally any team of any org, like it could go nuts after this. Anything's possible.
Yeah,
I know, but first of all, I think it's stupid that, now because of this good result, and it's a great result, now everyone's mind is changed.
That's the way it works.
That people change their minds like so quickly, where obviously, it's not so black and white. But I also wonder for you how much, you think it's also important, a good fit in terms of the coach. The players, sure, but also the coach. Like that relationship, I feel like is super important nowadays, because both of people have a lot of responsibility when it comes to building the team and building the game, and it has to be someone that you have a good relationship with. It's not necessarily you think the same way about the game. You said you and Cuban actually have different views when it comes to some things, and it's a good thing, but more so like about the approach to the team. How do you build it? How do you practice? All that sort of stuff.
I think so. I mean, I think in the future we're going to see amazing coaches. I mean, we're going to see some of the world's best in-game leaders becoming coaches, and the coaches are getting better and better all the time. But I think the future, it will be actually insane. With a guy like Blade, he was like a really good player himself, in-game leader, and I think he's probably a really good coach as well, I would say, right? And I think we're going to see more and more.
I mean, Zonic as well.
Sonic
sure,
as well.
He didn't play in CSGO, but in 1.6, one of the best teams in the world.
I think Sonic is a great coach, no doubt about that. But I think when we're going to see these CSGO top in-game leaders becoming coaches, this will change the game.
Different level.
It will be, for sure.
All right. That's exciting.
On top of what you said or what Chad said, you did the amazing stuff. You know, if you can even, like, is there any, like, whether it's a major win or, you know, one tournament win that you can single out for whatever reason that's maybe a little bit more special than the other ones?
I think like the last major win was pretty special for me, the Berlin one, but it was mainly because I had so many friends, family there watching.
Well, they jumped up on the
Yeah,
stage.
he got
right?
on stage.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And the amount of times your brother comes up to me drunk at like one of these events, like I'm gla1ve's brother, I'm like, sup? It's just him at all events. It's
For the 7th time.
it's like, yeah, I met you before, bud.
You know, they jump on
I
stage.
had the same problem.
They jump on stage, and there was a hole in the stage, and my brother's co-worker, he went up there, and he actually injured his leg, and he couldn't go to work for some weeks.
He pulled the Shara. He pulled the Shara.
It was so
Fucking
bad.
hell.
Oh,
That's the time to do it, though.
Look, I need to know what happened. gla1ve, breakfast, Dusseldorf, Cadian.
Oh, shit.
What went
shit.
down?
Oh, wait, what? You need to say to me stuff like this before, right?
Well, you can just say no comment.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say no comment on this one because it will be too much of a story.
Apparently, you just go talking shit to each other. That's all I heard.
We had like a Twitter beef the day before when they beated us. He was saying some things about Australis. I was saying some things about their team,
Which is great.
Yeah.
It's great fun.
And that was fine. And then it kind of proceeded at the breakfast the next morning, and it should never had done that.
No, it should have. Come on, this is fun now.
Bro, I remember
It was fun, but unprofessional, I would say.
All right.
I remember waking up that day and be like, people got in a fight at breakfast today, like fist fight. Like,
Yeah, but that
story
wasn't
blew
true.
up.
Yeah,
It
yeah. Then it's
escalated
go like,
so
oh yeah, this guy
quickly.
pulled a knife. Oh yeah, this dude had a bazooka. Like, of course, that's how quickly it goes, you know.
What other gla1ve controversies were there? There was some. There like, you guys had to be the bad guys for a
The
little
fucking
while.
the radar thing.
Oh yeah.
The radar thing, I never understood this thing, and also the Nvidia thing, I never understood this also.
Bro, I think it was Blast that kind of fucked you, because what happened back then at Blast tournaments, the way you would get your config, there was an FTP, right?
Yeah.
That you would join. There's your
then
team's
anyone
folder,
could
and then
see
you
it.
go. But you could go into any team's folder. So you know, players would go into.
You can still do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can still do that.
And Australis was the best, right, in the world. So people go to see who is there anything like special, and then someone saw the bind for the radar,
zoom in and out.
right? That zooms in and out, which is like, it's just smart. It's like, because you would see the question mark, you know, like, and then people were thinking, oh yeah, and then if you really zoom in, you can actually move your crosshair because it's like moves where you move, and maybe you could get a kill. And it's like,
I think it
bro.
was kind of a bit of a misunderstanding because for me it was more like I have always been playing with the radar really zoomed in, so I can watch exactly where my closest teammates are and what they're holding. But when I press the button, I actually zoom out. So I zoom out to see where my teammates are on the other bomb side.
Okay.
So I've always been playing with it zoomed in. So it was not like a radar bind to check the smokes because I always had this.
That just
radar.
came after.
Yes, yeah, of course. I was using that, but yeah, it was a bit confusing.
I think that might have been also before the update where you could see the nades on your teammates, and like, because that enables
Above
you
the
to
heads across the- yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
No, I know what you're
maybe it
talking
has
about.
nothing to do with that.
It was because, like, you know, when you have to get the radar big, you have to press tab, right?
Yeah.
And I just hate that when it has to be like a different size and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I made this radar bind.
Yeah, okay. All right. I remember there was a period of time when you guys were so good that people started getting fed up with Australis. That happened, right? It's like, because they were just winning everything.
Bro, you guys
course.
set so many fucking protocols and metas at that time. It was crazy. Like the nade usage, obviously, like nade is actually a
Took
useful
people
piece
2
of
years
utility.
to catch up.
Dude, like even like the mid reaction on Dust 2 to long control of just hustling down mid as quick as you can. Like teams emulated that shit.
It wasn't really like 2 years, but I think the main problem was they were just the best
At everything.
at step by, you know, like, what's the fastest thing that we could lose to? Let's stop that. If they throw smokes outside on nuke, what are the three main things that people do? Okay, let's stop that. So it was when people started thinking outside the box and started doing dumb shit, kind of, where they would just like,
The
you know,
Navi stacks
open
and
door
stuff.
on E, right, without doing anything, and just run out like upper, that you would
Catch
start.
them off guard a bit.
Yeah, that you would start winning rounds. And another thing was like, they were kind of over rotating a lot. Like you were moving to a lot. You know, this thing happens, we're moving. This thing happens, we're moving. So, but it's micro movement. It's the guys who are in the middle that are doing that. So it's not like you're completely out of position, like, you know, your anchor doesn't leave the site, but and because of that, it's also difficult to, you know, you would say, okay, so then just fake them out and then you go to the other side. Yeah, but it's not really that simple, because if gla1ve is that guy, he's gonna very quickly realize whether it's a fake or not.
True.
You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can't, what you have to do, you can't do like, oh, smokes A and then go B. You have to do sort of,
You gotta sell it.
you had to start doing like mini fakes with like 1 or 2 players just, and that's when the meta evolved, like with people just putting pressure like a little bit to just sneak one guy somewhere, right? And then you do it again so that someone can make a play, like because before that you didn't, you know, you could win by doing much simpler things, right? Like the people weren't that good and no one was that good on CT side. I mean, also one of the things that people didn't do, which now if you told someone, it's like ridiculous, like you play nuke, and then the only time you would see Zipex throw a smoke on ramp is only once smokes fall outside, or that's only when they would smoke door. Like they were the first team to sort of where they looked at utility from a team perspective. Before, you would just have a ramp guy go and throw a smoke, or like throw a molly and throw everything and just stand there and hold, right? Yes. But this way, you smoke outside, you want to throw smokes outside, send like, let's say even 2 guys secret, you don't want to fake one, send 2 guys secret, 3 guys ramp, so you split B, right? But then you want to go ramp,
it's blocked.
while the smokes are outside, this is blocked. And maybe they're making a play outside, maybe not, maybe there's someone in secret, but they're buying time, so then device will come into hell, right? And then it's going to be much harder for you to get ramp, right? And
I think there was like a few different reasons why we're good. The one thing was utility. We understood it very good, like with the smoke grenades. For me, I think I had a really good understanding of how to exactly use the smoke grenades, and I saw so many people just throwing their smokes, as you said, like B Inferno, CT side, throw 1 smoke, throw second smoke. Okay, maybe one guy comes over, throw a new smoke, 3 smokes, no smokes left. And there's still like 45 seconds back, and you cannot win the round on CT, right? And the other thing was that we were really good at prepping. I don't think a lot of people were prepping that much back then as we did, and we were prepping pretty hard.
Bro, it was so annoying, like, because like you're doing something and then they come, no one did that counter ever, right? Like I remember, for example, in fucking Beijing, dude, we lose 16-0, 16-4 to them in the semifinal.
Is this the one where they're in the 100 Thieves in the final?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And we're playing nuke, and they just came up with a molly to break this one smoke, to break our wall of smokes that like people didn't really do before. But that one thing, because no one ever did it before, and we're coming into the game, and it's like, holy fuck, now we have to send an extra, but then it changes your strat, or have to spend an extra smoke, and we kind of came up with something on the fly, but it was already like, you know, you're already like kind of 5-0 down.
This is funny with this nuke thing, because I think it was Magic finding this Molotov.
Yeah.
And I remember we found it quite a long time before we started using it. And the reason why was because that we said, if we are starting to implement this Molotov now, then we will have a much harder time winning on nuke T side. So we need to wait with it. We need to wait till teams get better, and then we start using this Molotov.
Shit.
Yeah, that's how fucking good they were.
You will never do that
we don't
today,
even need this
of course.
shit. We don't want to do this so the other teams don't figure it out themselves.
Motherfuckers.
So we don't have to play against it.
Yeah, but they would like kind of, I mean, it's a little bit for you, Jason, and all the Americans out there. It is a little bit like Bill Belichick-esque in terms of like how you play defense. Like you take away what the other team likes to do the most.
Sure.
And you make them do something else, right? And it's a pretty good way to approach.
What was it like in 2018, just beating Liquid in every single final? Were you eventually just like, oh, these cute little kids are back again?
I mean, in the end, I didn't really understand how we could like just beat them over and over and over again. It felt so like,
You're like, do I really have
at some
to do
point it
this?
was a little bit like sad for them, I think, that they lost so much to us in the finals. But for them, it was like, if we weren't there, they would have been the best team in the world, like for 2 or 3 years or something. So, but of course it felt great as well, just to win.
Yeah.
Now, I will say we've had Glaive
a
already
great
for an
time to
hour.
Yeah, you're welcome to go whenever you want to go.
Yeah. What is the time now?
9:43.
9:43?
Yeah, you've been here for about an hour.
So that's perfect for me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Yeah,
guys.
no, thank you for your
this was
time.
good.
Thanks for
Appreciate
coming,
it.
man.
Yeah,
Good
we
luck
appreciate it.
in your match.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah.
See you.
Wow, we got a lot in that hour.
Yeah, we fit it all in.
We talked a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And we'd already been talking for 20 minutes before that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. All right, well, you said you wanted to go play Counter-Strike.
Yeah, but
We have all day tomorrow. Are you going to sleep in, Nora?
what?
You sleeping in?
Yeah, because I haven't been doing the first game of the day. So I would play until like 3 a.m., wake up at 11,
Okay.
go gym,
Must
eat
be
food,
nice.
and go into studio.
You been going the one across the road?
No, I've been going here.
Oh, really?
I mostly did cardio.
Oh.
It's fine, have a bit more energy for the day.
Yeah.
It's doing good.
They got some good stuff down there. They got
They don't.
no,
but
they don't.
It's not good.
There's a few
They-
bouncy
It's not
balls.
good, but it's-
There's a sauna.
There's a song.
There's a
And luckily, fucking Hugo went home because a couple of times I ran into him. He's already on the fucking treadmill.
And
so-
he's running like a marathon. Or
Yeah,
some
he's like
bullshit.
there. And I
It's
have to
so
go on the
cra-
bike. I hate the bike. My ass hurts after it.
Hugo doesn't strike me as a runner, but he fucking runs.
He runs all the
Like,
time.
He runs.
That's the only thing he does. He doesn't I don't think he does weights, but he runs.
He runs. And he's running away from another event.
Yeah.
Fucking Hugo B. Byron. Yeah, no Harry and Hugo here. They're gone home. I'm sad without those kids around.
Well, you'll see them at Pro League
That's true.
Yeah, we do get a lot of time.
Yeah, that is.
and a couple of other events.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
That wasn't what I.
Yeah, I don't know what you're thinking, bro.
I don't
I'm
know
just
what
saying.
either of you were thinking. Y'all making this shit up.
just being.
Oh, I know what event you're talking about. Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough. No, fair enough. Where do we want to go? Do we want to close it down? Do we want to keep going? I can talk.
I think we just
Let's do 15 more minutes or so on just like the event and then the
playoffs and
We
stuff.
should
Yeah,
talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to Uber Eats.
Yeah. Huge shout out to
The
Uber
amount
Eats.
of Uber Eats links in the chat every day is insane.
The amount of Uber Eats bags I see in this hotel.
Oh,
every
just in the
day is
hallways.
So fucking gross.
Mate, the problem is.
I hate
Alex,
this
do
lifestyle.
can we tell this? What Alex did?
You're welcome to.
I think it's fine. So we're all on the same floor, right?
Yeah, we're on the-
and
we're on the fifth.
Alex is next to me, you're next to Alex,
Yeah.
and I don't know where Jason is, but Alex knows.
5:31.
So Alex like coming back one night or whatever, and
See you guys there.
Yeah, and he wants to like
I'm 5:40.
he wanted to go grab a cookie from the like market in the or something, and he's walking by and he walks by Jason's room and there's a Uber Eats bag outside,
It was like 4 a.m,
and there was like
He's not looking in the Uber Eats.
there's like some
He's
curry in there that
No.
looked really good. So he just
He came
like,
up to me. He came up to me at dinner, bro, and he was like, "When was the last time you ordered Masala House to the hotel? When was the last time you Ubered Masala House?" I was like, "Yesterday." He's like, "Oh, thank God."
Wait, he ate it?
Apparently, yeah. He went in, grabbed that Vindaloo curry, and just went to
Wait,
town.
why didn't you eat it? Why was there so much left over?
I ordered 2 things because I've never had Vindaloo curry, so I don't know if I'd like it. I know it's a spicier.
Okay, so
So
there
I
was a
ordered-
fair
yeah.
amount of food left.
There
He's
was a
not
good
just
amount of
in there
food.
licking
No,
the
no.
sauce out of the
and the
fucking-
reason he ordered 2 things for all the viewers out there is because instead of like having food catered and stuff, what ESL does gives us a voucher for Uber Eats for an amount, I don't know what it is, like $30-40 a day.
It's a lot of money over the course of 2 weeks.
But it's
Yeah,
over
that
the
much.
2
Too much
weeks.
money.
Yeah, it's like
Well,
whatever.
nope.
So, Jason, it's not his own money. So he'll order excessive amounts of food that will get not eaten and will end up in the trash. Or in this case,
Oh,
actually,
thanks. Are you trying to paint Alex and I in the worst possible?
in Alex's stomach. So they actually worked it out somehow. It was great. But you know what you said about, I actually asked them that today. I didn't say it was you. I just said like, some people are saying that with all some of the upsets, that some teams are being exposed. So I asked them like what they think about that.
Did I say that?
You tweeted like some of these teams are being exposed, right? No, you
Yeah.
wrote this in our Discord.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you said this like in Discord.
Yeah.
So
So it's
it's the spicy
people
stuff.
are-
It's in the Discord.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they said no, like in that, but more so that the teams are going through changes
Yeah.
and still getting adjusted to the new game. That it's like everyone's trying to figure it out, but it is a bit crazy, Ants making it into the Spodek, right? Like no one expected that. I didn't really expect Falcons to be able to make it.
from how they looked at Blast,
Yeah.
and how they
Yeah, I
looked
mean-
against Rebels, and how they looked against
Yeah.
Complexity.
Yeah, it was, but somehow, they managed to make that comeback on Ancient, and then Navi just fell apart. But I think,
All those
Astralis and VP not getting out of
That's huge.
play-ins. I mean, VP has actually
Especially
looked good
VP,
in CS2,
yeah.
right? And then Vitality also dropping out of groups. Those are 3 names that I probably would have thought would be in the playoffs.
I'll be honest, again, and people know I don't like VP's playstyle, but I like Darstan. I think he's cool. And Flit and Fame are cool too. So I got nothing
Just
against...
fuck James.
No, like Jam and I don't really talk, but some of the other guys I'll exchange some
Yeah,
words with.
you're welcome to check out his YouTube channel.
His YouTube channel is great. James does great content, and he's quite funny on the content. But when VP were in the arena last year, that was one of the hardest games I've ever had to cast in an arena because they were just obviously hated by the fans and their playstyle not really getting people out of their seats either. It's fucking
and
tough.
when they beat a team, it's such a weird style.
It's
as
like
well.
a funeral.
It's like hard to even hype it up. Them winning.
Yeah, so like,
It's like, you know, when you watch like those nature documentaries, right, and you see a fucking jaguar, like, or a puma jumping or killing the fucking antelope and like killing it, like, you're like, holy shit, this is like explosive. This is like, you know.
Yeah.
But watching VP is just like an anaconda, you know, just like slowly like
constricting its
wrapping.
brain.
Even that's cool. VP's like the fucking like Venus flytraps and the pitcher plants. It's like the bad part of the nature documentary. You're just like, can we get back to the animals killing things, hunting things?
he didn't like your analogy.
I don't know what he said, yeah, but
He didn't like your analogy.
Yeah,
So
I know.
he's
Venus,
talking
what,
about
Mars, Venus?
the Venus flytrap.
I don't know what
Or
that
like
is.
the pitcher plant.
You know,
I don't know what that means either.
Okay, so do you know in Mario?
The mushrooms?
No, the heads that come out, they're
Okay,
red.
yeah.
So they're smaller and they sit in the jungle, and when like a bug lands on them, they snap closed.
Ah,
And then it
okay.
stays, and then it digests it. Jason, what are you doing?
I'm trying to figure out which microphone his is to turn it off.
Okay, I'm worried. Don't stress me out here,
I
Jason.
got you, dog.
You're getting too close to the technical
Just-
shit, and people said the audio was dog shit when you guys did it.
Yeah, there was a lot of issues in that
And
episode.
my mic,
Ta-ta-ta-ta.
yeah,
You're
we're
still good.
going.
Yeah, we're good. That's right.
Wait, Chad, you
keep
talk real quick.
Uh.
Yeah, you're good. That's it. Clear.
it. But
I've been sleeping with my window open every night.
I keep it open up until I go to sleep.
Can't, my room's too hot.
Mine's not. Mine's actually. I heard you guys. Some guys were complaining, but mine is like excellent. But also, I spent probably like 300 days in this hotel in the last 3 years.
You're an
so I know everything. When Hugo was talking about the do not disturb sign, hey, you just have to like pinch it a little bit under the fucking thing.
Okay, all right.
You know, it's
you got the
a lot of
technique.
Is it
things.
depressing that you know that much information?
A little bit.
Yeah,
But also, it's helping him out.
yeah,
True.
it's not
useful.
too, you know,
Useful
it's like,
depression.
I took the do not disturb sign off of my door and for them to clean my room, which they did, and it had been over a week, and they didn't change the sheets.
That's weird.
Don't know why.
Maybe
maybe
they
you
just
had
don't
a
have
thing
any
on the
sheets.
bed that says don't change the sheet
Definitely not.
to help the environment.
I don't know where that
fuck the
fucking thing
environment.
is, but that thing ain't on my bed. You know what else? If you do laundry here, the guy doesn't collect the laundry until 1 or 2 o'clock at night. So if you hand the laundry in Monday morning, it's not getting picked up till Tuesday night, and you're not getting it back until it's fucking 48 hours. So I handed in laundry Sunday night, assuming I get it back end of day Monday. Didn't get it back till today. Today's Wednesday, everybody.
Oh, that's messed
Rip-
up. I don't like
ripperoni.
that.
So then I had to hand in some laundry for the playoffs yesterday, which I won't get back till Friday morning. And if it doesn't arrive Friday morning, I won't have it anywhere for the playoffs.
Cool.
I think players need to be given more jerseys for tournaments.
I think we need to be given polo shirts at every event with a team logo, and then I never have to worry about bringing any clothes to an event because we had this fucking document come our way with the wardrobe stuff. So I brought all these clothes to make sure that they were like the correct colors if I'm going to be on camera. I was on camera twice. I don't want to be on camera, just so everybody's well aware. I made that known all the time. But there was a whole wardrobe document, and we couldn't wear black, we couldn't wear blue, and we couldn't wear white, right? Obviously, they did it with the color scheme. I bought all these clothes. My suitcase weighed 28 kilos. I've been on camera in the group stage / play-ins twice. I bought all these clothes.
Yeah, I'm done with that too.
Just
I
give
overpacked as well.
Give me a polo shirt with the event logo. Give me fucking 6 of them or some shit, and that'll be it. Because I don't want to be on camera. I never need to be on camera, but at least I'll wear something that is the tournament on it. Let's just do that, shall we? Can we trial it? Can we do it in Dallas? It's very American.
Yeah.
Yeah,
do it,
or
Dallas.
just
We'll bring it up.
or just tank tops.
We'll talk to Jackson. We'll get that situated.
Just save me from having to pack clothes, and then I can take a small suitcase, and everything will be fine. Everything will be fine, Jason. Why can't we look like the Olympics? They wear matching.
Well, we can look like the
Olympics are
Special
doing great.
Olympics.
I already feel like I do, man. I didn't get to wear any of my clothes. I'm very special.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You are special. All right. Playoff bracket. Ents Falcons.
Falcons win.
You think so?
I think Ents have shit the bed on stage.
Okay. That's the angle of it.
It's possible, or I think that game is gonna be.
I think
a lot of it is gonna be momentum, right? If Ents doesn't get off to a good start, I think Falcons clear them.
I think
also their map pools kind of overlap, so Ents will get vertigo, and then
Will they though? They both ban Inferno.
oh yeah, that's a
Falcons. I
possibility.
think Falcons have all these new teams that are doing
Yeah,
good
Falcons
here.
will lead to vertigo one day, and just don't care.
They'll play Inferno. Magic is pretty damn
Falcons
good in Inferno.
look the worst of all of them, I think.
But Jason,
It has, but it's also they're in the playoffs now.
Yeah.
They're on the stage.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
You have all that experience.
Nico reckons Falcons in the final.
Well, Nico's crazy. Like I talked to him last night as well a little bit. Like him, Taz, Flamesy, we were sitting around like at a hotel, and like it's obvious he didn't watch as many Spirit games because like he thinks it's also like, oh yeah, the kid is just carrying them, like Donk is carrying or something. Like no, there's actual layers to Spirit's game. It's not just about that. It's not he's running around and killing people.
It does help.
So I think that's why he thinks like they'll just in the semis, the pressure's going to get to them in the big stage, and they're going to lose. I think they're in the grand final, whoever they play, and easily.
Okay.
It does help. Kid's got like a 1.65 rating
I think
so far in the
to be honest, man, I
tournament.
think they'll fucking win the tournament.
Okay. All right.
I think they'll beat
All right.
G2, Mouse, or FaZe, unless somehow.
They don't beat FaZe in the best of 5.
I don't know, man. They beat and sure, maybe they lose to FaZe in a best of 5 because they beat them in a best of 3 in like the game that quote unquote didn't matter all too much. But they're playing almost like I kind of want to say by far the best CS this tournament.
Just hard to disagree.
Not that Donk is and he is like the highest rated player and playing the best, but it's also when your team is winning and playing.
You're gonna get a lot of frags.
Yeah, you're gonna get more kills and more frags, and he's a big reason of why they're winning, but not
The only reason.
not the only reason, and not because he's like just doing plays on his own and like
Team
pulling
CS,
them out of bad situations. Like within their structure, he has his place and he's doing great in that place, obviously, right? And that's helping them. But yeah, I think unless they, and I don't think they'll choke. I don't think.
What about Shiro on stage?
I'm not worried about Shiro.
Me neither, because in this team it's different. Like he's, we sort of haven't really talked about him, but he's like the third, fourth highest. He's like in the
He's
top 5 rated players of the tournament.
Yeah, he's playing
right?
well.
Yeah.
And watching their games, there weren't too many highlights outside of that, like kind of mirage round against.
But did he have the
FaZe, I
Julies
guess.
round?
He had the
Okay.
Glock round on Ancient.
Yeah, he had that.
retake
Yeah,
on-
yeah,
oh, yeah,
with
with
the
the
one
jump
on
spot.
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
huge.
That was sick.
That was nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Ents beats Falcons in that quarterfinal, and then I think they lose to Spirit in the semifinal.
So Spirit in the grand final.
Spirit in the
Okay.
grand final, and then the other side is FaZe G2 to start things. I think FaZe wins that.
Unless Monacy and Nico, if they both play well, they have a chance.
Yeah.
FaZe is the favorite, and they're the better team in CS2. But there's always
They're
that.
beatable.
There's always that thing. I think for G2, for example, we saw them beat Heroic easily with 4 lost pistols.
Yeah.
Right? And okay,
Some
on
good-
Nuke, on
some
Nuke
good
they won
rounds
the
from Nexa.
On Nuke they lost CT pistol, forced, but saved 4 guns of the force, and then won the 3rd round. So that's a little bit different. But I feel like if they get some momentum, like if they lose, 3 out of 4 pistols against FaZe, they'll lose the game. I don't think they'll be able to beat FaZe with that. But with MR12, you need less, right? And it's a pistol. It's one good round for Monacy and like some bullshit situation, and it's 1 or 2 good calls, and all of a sudden like you're there. So it's one of those situations where I feel like FaZe wins 7 times out of 10.
Okay.
But if it's one of those 3 times,
But who are you predicting?
FaZe. That way, either I'm right or G2 is true. So I'm happy.
Okay. All right. And
My
then
man.
FaZe
Hedging your bets.
Mouse.
I'm taking FaZe.
Okay.
I have FaZe going to the grand finals.
Mouse beat Cloud9, Gamer Legion, and then Ents.
Hence,
Mouse has sustained this Frozen loss pretty well. Brolin's playing good with them.
Brolin's been playing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing a good job. I think
Exertion's had a couple better games than we've seen recently.
yeah, he's got some new positions. Jimmy had a rough game on Vertigo to start against Ents, and then as soon as he turned it around in that match, they started winning.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to say Mouse. Usually, like I don't go that way. I go with the more experienced team and all that stuff. But I don't know. I have a feeling they're ready to take that
They're going to flourish.
next step, right? And they're going to be very motivated to beat Frozen as well. I feel like they've been in these situations a number of times where they know how to handle themselves in that game. And even talking to Exertion about it today in the roundtable thing, he was saying like, sometimes the veteran players are a little bit more aggressive against you in those games because they're like, know maybe they can get
Comfortable,
away
yeah.
with. So he said, I want to do the same thing so they can, maybe they think twice then if I punish them and they're going to be like, oh, maybe I get into their head. Oh, we can't like bully this kid or this team as much. Like, oh, he's doing that to us, So I don't know, just because like in general, FaZe has been a little bit, and also, Rain, similar to like Hunter, kind of struggling to find this form.
He's
Both
Similar-
of those
similar to-
names, big game players.
Yeah.
True. So, that's
Yes.
going to be, there's some unknowns about that whole thing.
So you have Mao's Spirit final
Yeah.
and Spirit winning.
The new generation. Yeah.
You have
FaZe Spirit
okay.
and FaZe winning.
Oh,
And you have,
Falcons FaZe.
who's winning?
FaZe.
You put a lot. You're putting a lot of weight on that experience.
Why do you like Falcons so much?
I don't really. I'm just doing something different.
Yeah, he's just breaking the mold.
I would, if I could pick the final I would like the most, I would like Spirit versus FaZe final the most.
Yeah,
With that Antwerp energy. I think that would be fun.
that was a sick game in
Yeah.
Antwerp. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's difficult for me to blindly predict that Spirit will do well in a stage match.
I think also if you look at it, if you think Falcons are going to play him, I mean, there's again the 2 Inferno bans. So now Spirit can veto. Well, I don't know what they do.
But who will call who's bluff on that one?
But
Yeah.
what does Falcons play? Anubis, Vertigo, Ancient,
Yeah.
a little bit of Nuke.
All good maps for Spirit.
All good maps for Spirit. So I think that's why, if they were like really sick on Overpass somehow, maybe, or, but I think if Spirit gets like a couple of their maps, like Mirage is in there too, they're just like, yeah, it has to be.
They should have them covered. If they play that match right now, I would go for Spirit. But
I think like for me, it's like
If they play it 2 days from now, I'm picking Falcons.
I think Spirit can like play their. I'm not like super afraid of like I think like Spirit doesn't have to play their best game to beat Falcons or Ents. At
well,
the
for
moment.
a Dragon
You know?
versus a Falcon, I think the Dragon would win.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
But
So-
against the fucking Enceladus,
Oh,
Yeah.
well then,
mythical,
I think the Dragon would beat that.
Dragon clears a lot of things.
Yeah, I think. Isn't it the year of the dragon in Chinese New Year? Isn't it year of the year?
Maybe not the samurai though.
Oh.
Can cut his head off.
Yeah,
okay.
good point.
All right.
Or a knight. They hunted dragons.
Didn't they get burnt to crisp?
Dragonite, Dragonite.
I feel like that'd be
Only the
slow.
shitty knights.
Dragon
It's
Knight, yeah.
The knights who
Shit.
are
The combo of both.
most stalwart and honorable handled business.
It's a Dota reference.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think Chad's pretty tired. He's had enough talking for
Well,
the
we
day.
just put the AI through its paces with a vacuum cleaner, so this is
Yeah,
about-
she'll be
it's-
right,
it's
man.
about
It's
time.
a
It's
live
alright.
environment.
I wanna play some pugs.
It's a live environment.
Yeah, let's go frag.
man.
I wanna test
What are
this
we gonna
speaker's
do
range.
with this situation right now?
Throw it up on the internet.
Throw it up.
Yeah. Get to fucking bed, Chad.
represent.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Think about Jason's milking table.